Young Philly has been at the center of some wild allegations recently, and people are quick to jump to conclusions. But what's really going on? It's like everyone suddenly thinks they're a detective on a crime show, picking apart every old clip and tweet like they're solving a whodunit. Some of these theories are so out there, they'd make a conspiracy theorist nod in approval. While others seem to be about as accurate as a FIFA player shooting in a laggy match. So here's the deal, serious allegations have surfaced, and the internet has turned into a courtroom where everyone's ready to pass judgment faster than you can say cancel culture. It's wild! You've got people yelling guilty from the rooftops while others are like, whoa, let's chill for a second, and don't even get me started on the rumors about the girl making these claims. Apparently she's an OnlyFans model, and some think that makes her a liar.
Liar, liar! Plants for hire.
But let's be real, just because someone's got a side hustle doesn't mean their words are trash. Today we're diving into this whole circus. We'll check out all the sides of the story, from the wild claims to the questionable evidence. It's all about finding the truth, or at least figuring out what's real and what's just internet drama. To actually debunk the truth of this situation, we need to know where it all started. Young Philly, whose real name is Andres Felipe Valencia Barrientos, is currently in hot water, like burnt toast levels of hot. This British YouTuber and rapper recently found himself facing serious allegations. Picture this. After a performance at Bar 1 nightclub in Hillary's on September 28, 2024, he was arrested in Brisbane and whisked away to Perth. Why? Because he's facing charges related to some extremely serious matters, including allegations of sexual misconduct. Now, hold on to your hats, folks. He's been hit with 4 counts of sexual penetration without consent, 3 counts of assault occasioning bodily harm, and 1 count of impeding a person's normal breathing or circulation by applying pressure to their neck. I know, it sounds like a plot twist that no one asked for, but here we are. Despite the gravity of these charges, he's been granted bail, because apparently the system likes to keep things interesting. His bail conditions are pretty strict, a $100,000 personal undertaking, he can't leave the state, and he has to check in with the Northbridge police station every 3 days. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had to report to the police every 3 days and wasn't allowed to go back to my home, guess what? I'd be pissed. But let's not forget, while these allegations are serious, they're still just that, allegations. Nothing has been proven yet, so let's keep our detective hats on and dive deeper into the layers of this unfolding story. So let's take a moment to peek behind the curtain and see how this whole situation is impacting Young Philly's career and his circle. You know how it goes. When the internet gets wind of some juicy drama, the reactions come in hot and heavy. Creators who once shared the screen with him are now backpedaling faster than a kid caught sneaking cookies before dinner. Even his buddy Chunks has had to hit the brakes, likely considering how to navigate this mess without getting splashed with any of the drama sauce.
Yes, my peoples, like everyone, I've heard the reports coming out of Australia. Whilst I understand many of you want my reaction on it, as this is an ongoing court case, I hope you guys can understand that I can't and won't be commenting on it publicly. So yeah, I've just come on here to basically let you know the reasons as to why I can't. Love.
Since these allegations hit the fan, it's like Young Philly's commercial deals have taken a nosedive faster than a FIFA player flopping in the penalty box. Food giant Heinz and fashion label ASOS have hit the brakes on any content featuring him. I mean, talk about a PR nightmare. Just when he was gearing up to launch a live podcast in London next week, boom! That show has been scrapped faster than a bad meme. But wait, there's more. Our guy had already filmed part of a cooking show in cahoots with the Football Association and a food brand, featuring some big-name players from Arsenal and Aston Villa. Yep, that deal is now officially off the table. It's like every project he touched suddenly went poof. Not exactly the magic trick he was hoping for. And let's not forget, Mr. Barrientos has been a regular on a popular YouTube channel with a bunch of influencers. But in light of these extremely serious charges, a spokesperson for the channel dropped the news that they're suspending their contract with him immediately. With over 3 million followers on Instagram and it's nearly 2 million subscribers on YouTube, it's safe to say he's taking a hit in the popularity department. Now, let's take a peek at one of the tweets making waves in the Young Philly saga. This gem claims that the woman accusing him, Emma Burns, is a stripper who allegedly texted her friend to cancel an Uber because she and Philly were having a blast that night and had some sort of mutual agreement going on. Yeah, you heard that right. I mean, who needs a detective when we have TikTok detectives cracking the case wide open? Here's some clips from the video in all its glory.
So before I go further into this video, I'd just like to take this time to apologize to young Philly, to apologize to any of his friends, his family, anyone associated with him. And I would also like to apologize to any rappers in the UK who has seen this and has been affected and now feel some type of way about us females in Australia. So the media is concealing who this female is. So everyone's like, who is this mysterious female? This mysterious female is Miss Emma Burns, the one and only stripper and sex worker. Round of applause for Miss Emma Burns. Ya sharmuta. So, why am I so annoyed? It's because Emma Burns' friends have come out and they have exposed her. Emma went to the hotel with young Philly and they both had a mutual agreement. When you have a mutual agreement, babe, it's consensual. Emma Burns had then texted her friends and one of her friends, and told her friend how much of a good time she really had and that she was ready to go home. Could her friend book her an Uber? Remember that. Her friend should book her the Uber, but she's a stripper. Please remember these two things, okay? Because we're going to be very logic here. Her friend should book her the Uber. When her friend was going to book her the Uber, she then told her friend, oh, actually, I don't need it anymore. That doesn't sound like someone who's being sexually assaulted, Emma. That sounds like someone who's having a goddamn good time. A goddamn good time. Because if you were being sexually assaulted, you are in a hotel where there are hundreds of people on the same level. You could scream. You could text a friend because it seems your phone was working really fine, Miss Ma'ams. You could run down to reception and tell reception to call the police if your life was at any danger or there was any threat of your safety. Those are three things you could have done. Screaming would have probably been the best one because I can guarantee you there would have been someone next door because we know how hotels in Australia is booked, packed and busy. Okay. Emma, you are a sex worker. You are also a stripper. There is nothing wrong with that because if I could shake my ass and get a little coin, I will too. So I am not bashing you for that in any way, shape or form, Emma. But it's pretty obvious your stripping career isn't taking you anywhere. The fact that you have to ask your friend to book you an Uber. Now, WA. I'm not from WA, but currently I am in Western Australia. Western Australia is not like other states in Australia. Example, Sydney. To get a 30-minute ride on an Uber could cost you about $80. In Western Australia, when I do book Ubers, somewhere that's 30 minutes away, it can cost me $15 to $20. An Uber is not that expensive. So clearly, sweetheart, your stripping career isn't going the way you thought it would go. So because it's not going that way, you now want to use young Philly for funds. And you knew what you were doing. But you're not going to get away lightly with this one. Emma Burns has also done this to another rapper before. Sorry, she has tried to do this to another rapper. I don't know if he's a rapper or a musician. Bryson Tyler. I don't really know who he is, but she has tried to do this to someone else before and it was unsuccessful. But now she thinks she has hit the jackpot with young Philly. So everyone going around the media talking about this young Philly, they need to stop. They need to stop because this guy is genuinely innocent. Her friends have come out and said what she did. She knew what she was doing. So I understand people are like, oh, don't victim shame, don't victim blame. As someone who has been through something like that myself as a child, I will never sit there and back the predator ever. But this generation, you guys take it too far with, you have to believe the females. Because of that, that saying that you guys are putting out there that you have to believe the females are taking the piss. And innocent men are being blamed for things that they genuinely have not done. Now, people are going to say, oh, but what about the assault charges? Let's be for real. Those assault charges came from him choking her. We are all grown on this app. Well, I hope we are all grown. Some females, including myself, and I'm sure some of you guys watching this, we get choked during sex. We get some other foul things during sex. We may not think it's foul. We find it attractive. Some other people are not necessarily into those things. Emma is clearly into that. But now it's become an issue. This is wrong. You guys need to stop enabling females who think it's okay to ruin people's lives. It is not okay. You knew the agreement when you were going into that hotel. You knew what you were there to do. You knew the man didn't want anything with you after. How is it possible that he would want anything after that? He is from the United Kingdom. He was here to perform and go back to his everyday life. But instead, You have ruined that for him. I'm not saying young Philly's a broke person. I don't know what his funds are like. Now he's stuck in a country that's foreign to him till December. He has to pay for accommodation. He has to pay a lot of things. When you're a foreigner in a country, it can be expensive. He's out of pocket because of you. Now he has legal fees to pay for. That's not fair. And we should not be enabling females that do this. And these other TikTokers that are on live bashing this man, that's not right. That's not right. That is wrong. And you are foul. That is wrong. I'm not saying because she's a sex worker and she's a stripper that, oh, you know, like, yeah, it can possibly happen. Of course it can happen. Just because someone's a sex worker and a stripper, it doesn't mean that they can't be assaulted. They, of course, can be sexually assaulted. But when you consent to something and you and someone have agreed to it and you guys have done just as what you guys have agreed to, it is not sexual assault, Emma Burns. So this needs to stop. I don't know who Young Philly is. If you ask me, name one Philly song, I couldn't even tell you. I'll probably sing something else from the UK. I don't know Young Philly, but free Young Philly. This is wrong, what's happening to this man. And watching his name get dragged through the mud on TikTok is disgusting. And for you people that think it's okay, get it together. If you see a photo of Emma, I'm not even being rude. I'm not a 10 out of 10 myself. I'm probably a 1 out of 10. And it's okay. I'm fine with that. Young Philly, not the most attractive himself, but not a bad looking person. But Emma, you long titty dingback, water built buffalo, bad sloppy body built girl. You, babes, get it together. Get it the F together, because your own friends are not supporting the rubbish and the nonsense you are doing. You are foul. You are foul, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Go back to stripping on the pole and actually do something. Do a little trick or two to make some money, but like not trapping. Not trapping is not the word, but lying on an innocent black man. Bitch, you're fat.
So here's what the woman in the tweet is claiming. Emma allegedly texted her friend to cancel the Uber ride because she and Young Philly were having a great time together and had what she describes as a mutual agreement. Now, that's a bold statement, right? I mean, you can almost hear the dramatic music playing in the background as she hits send on that text. But let's be real for a second. Just because you're having a good time doesn't mean everything is above board. It's like when you're at a party and everyone's vibing, but then you catch a whiff of someone's questionable dance moves. Suddenly, you're not so sure about the vibe anymore. Now, I'm not saying this to cast doubt on Emma or to paint her in a bad light, but in this wild world of social media and clout chasing, we've got to ask ourselves, how much can we really trust a text? I mean, I once texted my friend that I was totally fine after a 3-hour binge watch of cat videos while crying over my snack choices. Context is everything. And let's not forget the TikTok detectives are on the case, piecing together narratives faster than a magician pulls rabbits out of hats. 1 second, it's Young Philly is a monster, and the next, it's free Young Philly. It's enough to make your head spin. So while this woman's story raises some interesting questions about the Young Philly and Emma Burns case, we can't ignore the complexities of human behavior and social situations. This isn't a simple case of black and white. There are a lot of shades of gray here, but speaking of stories, Young Philly's ex recently came to his defense, adding yet another layer to the drama. Check this out.
I just want to talk about this, and here's my side of the story. Now, before we start, obviously I don't want to air personal business. That's private. We were speaking last year, can't give you really time frames, and rekindled at Misfits. I actually know Philly, so at least the people that are watching this can have something based on someone that actually knows him and not people speculating and just know him from seeing him on the internet and Garth and Turf. Philly is someone that I know and get on with, right, okay? I'm not here to say things did or didn't happen. All I'm here to say, to tell you even, is my side of the story. My experiences with Philly made me feel comfortable. When we rekindled this year, there was actually, I'm going to make a point of saying this, there was a point where he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you don't want to, bear in mind we'd spoken last year, we'd been seeing each other last year, and even then he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you're not comfortable, we don't have to. I just want to make a point of, he's never made me feel any pressure, and I think until we've got definitive answers to the question, I'm not discrediting what's happened. I don't know the ins and outs, and probably neither do you. I'm just here to give a balanced side of the story, you know what I mean? Just give you someone that's actually knows him, my side. I don't owe him anything either, you know, he's not asking me to do this, no one's pressuring me to do this. I just want to just say, let's all just calm down for a second until we know all the ins and outs. And my personal experience is that he was fine with me.
Tayamade Talks replied, her side of the story? How can you have a side of the story when you aren't in the story? I mean, maybe she's auditioning for a role that doesn't exist. But seriously, if you're not involved, maybe it's best to stay out of the spotlight. Zayn Shakur replied, of course she does. Exes always got a comeback story, but let's be real. They're just adding fuel to the gossip fire. Exes always pop up like that one unfinished sequel nobody asked for. Gossip fire is fun for social media, but it's not great for real life situations. Beach replied, the point she makes is she gave consent. See how it works, love. The other girl claims to not have given consent. Beach out here giving us the Consent 101 lecture, and honestly, we needed it. This is a crucial point. Consent is a serious topic, and it's not something you can dismiss with emojis. Will Clapp replied, I'm sure even Jeffrey Dahmer had at least one character witness. Whoa, Will, that's dark. We're veering off into creepy territory real fast. Let's keep the comparisons relevant and avoid mixing serious topics with inappropriate analogies. And on the other side, we've got people riding for Young Philly too. Rock tweeted, Young Philly has just had all the charges dropped because the girl lied on him. I always knew he was innocent. Oh, Rock's coming in with that I called it energy. But hold on, just because you knew something doesn't mean it's official. Keep those receipts handy. And what's interesting is Rake might be referencing that news photo on X from TTV Fofana, claiming Young Philly's charges have been dropped. But then Deliki Fayuti swoops in, pointing out quite a coincidence that the news template on there looks exactly like this. Turns out that fake news picture was created using breakyourownnews.com. So we've got ourselves a classic case of the internet being the internet, always a mix of truth and confusion. Check out this tweet from V2 Mooley. Young Philly is the result of a guy who did not get checked by his boys at all for weird behavior towards women. Too many guys allow their friends degenerate behavior. Now that's some spicy insight. I mean, come on fellas, if your crew isn't keeping you in check, you might as well be a lone wolf on a slippery slope. It's like letting your buddy wear socks with sandals. Somebody's gotta step up. But wait, it seems like the drama doesn't end there. Jesus tweeted with a funny video, first Diddy and now Young Philly, all my idols going straight dog. And then Keats jumped in with a classic, idolizing Young Philly is the funniest thing I ever seen. Honestly, Keats is right. Idolizing anyone in the spotlight these days is like buying a lottery ticket. You might win big, but the odds are never in your favor. So where do we stand? After digging through the Young Philly drama, we've learned one thing. Allegations can spread faster than a TikTok dance trend. Right now, it's a mix of serious claims and questionable memes. And guess what? There's a trial coming up in December, so we'll definitely be keeping our eyes peeled.
Guilty! That nigga is guilty!
Sir, settle down. You have to go deliberate.
I don't need to deliberate. Hang that nigga now. I got the rope right here.